Welcome everyone to Whimsy Woven Stories. Here, we explore gripping tales of real-life twists. Join our storytelling community. Hello everyone, before we dive into today's intense story, I have a small request. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support really helps us beat the YouTube algorithm and allows us to keep bringing you more stories like this. Thank you for being part of our community. Now, let's begin the story.
My wife has been very sketchy recently, and several years ago we used to be in swingers, but then she became a teacher at a local middle school, and we both agreed it needed to stop. Also, I had really started to lose interest in the lifestyle. Not sure this is even relevant, but thought I'd mention it. Since this January, her behavior has changed. All of the normal stuff, reduced sex drive and lots of time on her phone. Plus, she had a male coworker that she frequently talked about. Apparently, he's very funny. She was going out on Fridays after work about twice a month and not returning home until after midnight. This bothered me as I felt it was unsafe for her to be out so late. She claimed that she was fine and they just liked to hang out. I didn't mind her going out as occasionally, I did the same with my friends occasionally, but always home before midnight. I had mentioned that I would like to go to one of these get-togethers, however she said spouses haven't attended and she would find it weird. I knew that was stupid as who cares, and her parents could keep our kids for the night. The next week, a month ago, I just showed up anyway. She was sitting next to this male coworker and two other teachers had the husbands with them. While I was there, Brad and my wife barely even talked, odd given how much she would talk about him. FYI, Brad is not even attractive and he's a teacher. I make way more than this man. I can't understand what she sees in this guy. By comparison, I am moderately attractive while Brad is maybe a 5 out of 10. He must have an amazing personality or a huge joystick, I don't know. The whole thing wrapped up around 9:30 p.m., not 1 a.m., all very sketchy. At that point I was convinced something was going on. The next day, I checked our phone records and they were texting frequently every day, 5 to 20 times a day every day. I ended up confronting her and asked to see her text messages. I didn't tell her that I had checked our phone records. She said I was being paranoid and showed me. Their chat history showed only a few text messages per week despite the fact that he was above me on the list and I had texted her that same day. At that point I am 100% positive something was going on. Again, I didn't tell her what I knew, but I told her that I wasn't cool with her relationship with Brad and I had some thinking to do. She told me I was being crazy and then I slept on the couch. The next day, she let me know that she would stop associating with him unless it was strictly work-related. I didn't believe her. I then hired a PI to track her when she went out, but she hasn't gone out again for the last month. Ultimately I'm out a few $1,000s I paid the PI since she's behaving herself. Now she's returned to her pre-affair self. Unfortunately, I can't prove she cheated, but I'm 99% certain she did. I'm leaning towards divorce, but we have kids and again I can't anything. I'm still sleeping on the couch, which really upsets her. She has initiated sex on several occasions, but I haven't been interested. She told me she would transfer to a different school if that would help me calm down, still claiming that I'm being crazy. We live in an at-fault state, so not being able to prove anything really sucks. People keep asking me to update them. I may post again eventually, but I don't want to track everyone down to let them know. I'm going to speak with a lawyer and look into divorce and what I'm risking during the process. I'd rather live in the couch than only get my kids every other weekend. Update. First, I wanted to thank people for all of their advice. A lot of it has been very helpful. Anyway, she and I spoke. I confronted her with everything and she made no effort to deny things this time. Obviously, as I knew, she was gaslighting me and she admits that. I informed her that I was thinking about divorce but also about remaining and just co-parenting our kids. I really don't want to split custody, not do I want her to get her chump Brad involved in their lives. She insisted that nothing physical happened but admits that she let things go too far with him. She also said that she would rather get a divorce than live with someone who no longer wanted to be with her. That it would be too painful and unhealthy. Having said that, she doesn't want either of those options and she loves me and wants to work on things. She has already asked for a transfer to another school. She told me that Brad was not going to be part of her life going forward, even if we get divorced, and that it was just a friendship that got inappropriate, but never involved anything physical. She admits that he wants her to leave me and she never shut that down. She was very flattered by all of his attention and commitments. Additionally, they had things in common that my wife and I didn't. She went to his place 3 times and claims all they did was some movies that I didn't enjoy. Harry Potter movies. This is hard to believe, but she swears it's true. No way this is acceptable, even if true. I have watched all of those movies with her countless times. Granted, I wasn't really paying attention, but I can practically quote those stupid movies. He also sent her a joystick pic at one point. She had asked him not to, but he did anyway. Obviously she should have reported this to HR, but she didn't. She claims that she didn't want to get him in trouble. I asked, and apparently he has a rather large joystick, for comparison. Mine is above average, but nobody would call it huge. She said she deleted it after he sent it to her. For her part, she sent him 3 photos. One was a picture of her in a dress and heels that she wore to a work event at my job. Claimed she wanted his opinion on it. She also sent him 2 pictures of her feet. Sounds odd, but she has very attractive feet and made some cash as a foot model in the past. One was used for a Temu ad for high heels they sell. She swears that's all she sent him. Additionally, they went antique shopping once. She loves doing this and I hate it. I honestly wouldn't have minded her shopping with him had she told me. Apparently they were work spouses and she enjoyed this. I wasn't too upset by that as I had something similar at work, but it only existed at work. There was nothing else to it. No texts or staying out late or going shopping. I wouldn't even go out for lunch with her unless someone else was with us. This ended when she repeatedly mentioned that her husband was out of town for the weekend. Could tell where she wanted things to go. She has married, by the way, to a man who has cheated on her. She let me know that she had texted him to tell him that she was ending the friendship. She showed me the text. She explained that the relationship had crossed lines and she regrets not ending things sooner. She showed me the text. He responded by bad-mouthing me and told her that we don't have anything in common. This isn't true. There are many interests that we don't share, but we have many things we enjoy doing together. She blocked him after receiving a few of those texts. Even if she is telling the truth, I'd still be mad about her going to his house and all of the lying. However, she's very remorseful and upset at herself for damaging our marriage. Not sure what I'm going to do. We had such a great marriage, but I find it difficult trusting her right now. Edit. The fact that we were once swingers years ago is not an excuse for cheating. There are rules to that lifestyle and we both agreed we were done with it anyway. When I say I had a work wife, it was my coworkers who would say that. I never called her my work and was uncomfortable with all the insinuations people made about us. Update. This happened a few days ago. Have been too stressed to update TBH. Spoke with my wife. The whole thing turned into a crap show. We started by calling Brad. I was oddly very nervous about this. My wife called from her phone. He answered and she explained that I needed to talk to him. After a long pause he said, "Okay, this should be interesting." I didn't beat around the bushes and ask him why he thought it was okay to send my wife a picture of his joystick. Another pause and he said, "I'm not doing this crap," and he hung up. I informed her that we would be doing a polygraph, both of us. She was totally fine with this, since the tests only allow yes or no questions. I read her the questions I would ask and allowed her to answer. 1. Did you have sex with Brad? She answered, no. No need to elaborate. 2. Did you ever kiss Brad? I didn't, but he kissed me the last time I was at his place, so I left. He also groped me briefly while we agreed she would answer no during the test. 3. Did you want to have sex with him? She paused, no. I thought about it. Well, I didn't think about it. But I wondered what it would be like. I followed up by asking WTF did she mean by that? She said, well. Long pause. When I saw his joystick I was like, that thing is huge. So I thought that it might be fun, but didn't actually plan to do anything. I started to ask my next question. But then yelled, "I'm sorry, my joystick isn't fun enough for you." Got up and went to our room to grab some clothes and leave for the night. It was kind of irrational on my part. I've always been a little insecure about my manhood. Statistically, I'm above average. Yes, I've measured and about 6.25 inches, since I'm sure everyone will wonder. During our swinging days, it became clear that she had a preference for larger joysticks. I try not to let it bother me, but it always did. Honestly, hadn't thought about it for years. What my wife said was kind of triggering. Objectively, fantasies are not cheating and most people have them. I don't want to be mad about what she said, but I am. I already felt insecure and now even more so. I always knew she wasted bigger. But then I think, who cares? She picked me. Nobody has everything they want. I wish she had bigger balloons, so how am I any better? Anyway, I left the house for a hotel. She was begging me not to leave, but I left. She called and texted a lot. I eventually texted that I just need to calm down. I decided that this was not going to be the reason we would divorce. But I was genuinely hurt and embarrassed. Eventually I got a call from my daughter's phone. I was going to be pissed if my wife used her phone. I answered and it was my daughter. My wife was having a panic attack. My daughter kept calling me mean. I decided to go back. Sure enough, she was in the fetal position crying. I kneeled next to her and held her up and hugged her. She kept repeating that she didn't do anything. Like, said it a billion times. This was not what I wanted for the mother of my kids, and begins told that really bothered me. A lot. I have decided to believe her. I don't feel like I have any other choice. I slept with her and that was nice, not nice. Next morning she wanted to have sex. She often deals with stress with love making. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it up. Just couldn't. I feel embarrassed by my size and couldn't get an erection. I called off work that day. She was a mess and kept saying that she needs help, but she couldn't tell me what she needed. Took her to urgent care and she received a 14-day supply of an antidepressant and Xanax. We had a follow-up with her primary care doctor and he prescribed the medication long-term. She's still a mess and so am I. I really do feel like a jerk. I've decided to not focus on what happened and let it go. Sorry that the update was kind of boring. Update. Brief update. My wife called me to let me know that Brad came over to house. She told him to leave and took out phone to record him. Recording only shows him entering car and driving off. Edit. Since people have asked, Brad was at the front door. When she got her phone he left. He may have thought she was going to call the police. Call me or record him or all three. Update. Not really an update but a response. Even if we assume that my wife physically cheated on me with him in the past, people suggesting that she invite Brad over for sex are wrong. For starters, my kids were home at the time. Also, there would be a risk of the neighbors telling me that some dude came over for an hour. My wife effed up. But she is very intelligent. Way smarter than me tbh. Nothing happened between them yesterday. Just not possible. Edit. I've been accused of making this up by a few people. I'm fine with people believing that. I don't plan to argue about that. If you think I'm lying, then please block me. That's what I would do. Edit. Just arrived at work, so no posting for a while. I live in a moderately large town, as does Brad. Finding our address on the internet is super easy. I just Google my phone number and I was able to find it off that alone. Update. Well, Brad just made things a lot easier. He sent me a brief video that confirmed my worst fears. I haven't confronted her yet. But the marriage is over. Not sure how to proceed with 2 kids. This is the first time I ever wished I wasn't a father. But I don't really wish that. It would just be so much easier if not for the kids. I suspect the video will help in the divorce. I don't know if it's the full video, but what he sent should be enough. She had me almost convinced to. Edit. Harry Potter was playing in the background. Update. Things have been weird. I confronted her with the video and she just went silent for a while. Looked defeated and totally dejected. Eventually apologized and asked what she could do to fix this. She was fairly unemotional during this discussion. I told her that there was probably no way to go forward and I'd be filing for divorce. There's more to the discussion. But this is a good summary. She offered to leave. But I said that I should because my work schedule. It would be best if I left for sake of the children. Work is particularly busy right now. She insisted that she had to leave and that she wouldn't be able to help with kids in her state. I made arrangements with her parents. They said they can keep the kids Monday to Friday and I'd have them over the weekend. Wife simply left and I didn't know where she went. Parents didn't know either. I ended up texting Brad and said, "Is Tina with you?" I don't care if she is. But she left here and I haven't heard from her. Just need to know what's going on. He eventually responded, "I haven't seen her." Her parents then contacted me the next day and let me know that they have heard from her and she's safe. They apparently promised her not to give me any additional information. The next day the cops showed up to do check-in on the situation. Someone contacted them and indicated that she might be in danger as I had discovered that she had cheated. Eventually the cops left after talking to her parents. I assume Brad called the cops as I can't imagine who else would have. I've spoken to my divorce lawyer and the situation isn't great financially. He predicted me paying about $900 a month even if custody is 50/50. Given my work schedule, it would probably be higher and custody would probably be around 70/30. He said I might not have to pay any alimony given the infidelity but probably would have to pay some. We would still have to split our assets and debt evenly. Doing the math. I can only afford this if I seriously cut back on the amount I put aside for retirement. I would want her to keep the house for the kids and paying for my own place would be a struggle. I'm probably going to pursue staying together to raise the children. She has since contacted me to let me know she was at her sister's place in Kansas. She apparently got an abortion with my knowledge. Didn't even know she was pregnant. I'm positive it was mine as Brad was wearing a protection in the video. I'm very torn on this. Sad and relieved simultaneously. Whole thing sucks. Story 2. So some backstory. My dad left the family and went no contact when I, 35 male, was 4. My mom remarried and had 2 kids with my stepdad. My stepdad never treated me poorly but always made clear that I was Dale, fake name to him. He was not my dad. My mom never tried to fix the relationship and honestly loved her new family and always saw me as a burden. That's what I thought, at least until it was confirmed after my freshman year of college when my mom asked me not to come home anymore. I blocked her after that phone call and have had no contact with her or my stepdad and half-brother since then. I do still speak to my half-sister, 25 female at her insistence, but that's my only contact. It took me a long time to deal with basically being kicked out of my family. I grew to be pretty independent and thought I'd live alone until I met my fiancée, 28 female 4 years ago. We had had a great relationship and her family opened up and invited me in with open arms. She comes from a pretty typical suburban family and they are great. Over the years I've told her about my issues with my family. She has met my sister and she never pushed for more, until we started planning the wedding. When we started talking about who we would invite, I talked about friends from college and coworkers, and she kept saying I should invite my parents. At first I thought she was just trying to gauge if I wanted to. I said I would not be inviting my parents. She said okay, but then brought it up again the next day. I calmly explained how much they hurt me. How growing up feeling you were unwanted and then having it confirmed at 19 really stunted my mental health. That over the years I have realized it's their problem, and if they ever want to solve it then they can initiate, but I am in contact with my sister and it is clear they are happy insisting I don't exist. It sucks, but it's their problem that they have thrust onto me. I can't be the one to solve it. I thought it had ended, but she has brought it up 2 more times. The last one was last night. We were about to start to save the dates and she said, "Are you sure you don't want to invite your parents?" I feel like I might just invite them on my side, and I snapped. I told her we should probably just throw the invitations away, because if you can't respect what I've been through then I don't want to marry you. I then went to our bedroom and fumed for a while. She came in to try to talk to me and I walked out, grabbed my keys and left. I came back around 11 p.m. after hanging with friends and slept on the couch. She left for work without a word to me and I don't know where we stand. Her behavior is unacceptable, but I feel I may have gone too far. What do you all think? Am I the idiot? Update, and very overwhelmed by the response. So many thoughtful responses. Thank you to everyone who took the time to respond. I thought I would give an update. My fiancé normally gets home around 5:30 p.m. so after I was done working, I work from home, I waited for her to show up. Got very worried when it was 6 and she still wasn't home, but around 6:15 she shows up with my sister, which was a big surprise. While my sister and I connect every Thursday, we live 45 minutes away from each other, so her popping by is not normal. Both of them looked very anxious, so I was very confused. I asked them what was going on and my sister just bursts into tears and saying she's sorry. After like 5 minutes of her losing her crap, she starts talking about the family. So apparently when she told my mom and Dale that I got engaged, it started a rift between them. Not because they cared about me, but about how my half-brother, which is 27, is still living at home, single with no steady job. If you're thinking, wow, they kicked you out at 19 but let him stay there past when he could rent a car, don't worry, I said it out loud. My mom apparently wants to do the same to my half-brother, but Dale won't let her. So they are currently separated. With my mom living family and refusing to come back until my half-brother is out of the house. For some reason that defies all logic and reason, my sister thinks getting an invite to my wedding will bring the family together. Since it was my engagement that caused the rift. At this I blew up a bit. I told her that my engagement had nothing to do with it. That their crappy parenting and poor relationship skills caused it, and don't put that crap on me. She cried even harder. And this time I was not going to console her. My fiancée is just sitting there the whole time, so while my sister is trying to get herself together, I question my fiancée about this. She also tears up a bit but tells me my sister was telling her about how I always bring up the family on our Thursday. And that deep down I wanted to repair the relationship. I asked how she could believe that when I was very clear that I was no contact with my family and had never mentioned wanting to be in contact. I told her that I'd tell her everything and would never hold back something like this without talking to her. She's always been my sounding board. When I switched jobs last year, we talked about it every night and her advice mattered more than anyone else. She apologized and then wanted to show me her phone. Specifically the messages between her and my sister. At this point my sister perks up and asks her not to show the phone conversation. But my fiancé tells her she's trying to save her relationship. My sister has just been straight up lying about our Thursday conversations. Saying how I was always talking about reconciling. How I would never admit it, but I'm partially at fault too. How I really want to see them all again. Every time I would tell my fiancé no, she would text my sister and my sister would talk about how I just couldn't be open because I was embarrassed. Just completely false. I would be perfectly happy never seeing any of them again. I can't believe my sister still sees them. At this I tell my half-sister to leave and that Thursdays are cancelled. My sister puts up a little bit of a fight but I ignore her until she leaves. She keeps saying sorry over and over again, but honestly I'm done with her. I've blocked her and will be no contact with her for the time being. A complete betrayal of my feelings and relationships. As for my fiancé and I am still very upset. She went behind my back with my sister. Never asked me about it. Let my sister manipulate her and honestly hurt me. I told her I love her, but my trust is broken. We've agreed to go to couples therapy and see if we can repair the relationship. I hope we can, but I'd say it's a toss-up for me. She's got a lot of work to do.
Thanks for listening. Share your opinion in comment section and also do like and subscribe to the channel.